Join me today as we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bobby, and today we're going to be talking about the latest entry in the Deadpool movie franchise, Deadpool and Wolverine. There are going to be spoilers, but I'll try to do the non-spoiler part first and warn you when the spoilers begin, because there's a lot of spoilers. So, just got done watching the movie, and it's pretty good. I thought, if anything, is a little more serious than the other two, which, it works. I've always thought that at least Wolverine works better in serious stories, and Deadpool can work well in serious stories. I'm actually not as big a fan of the slapstick type stuff, which is not to say that I don't appreciate a good joke or anything like that. And, I did like the other two movies, and there were definitely some good jokes in this movie. And, yeah. So overall, like I said, I thought it was a good movie. I don't know, probably some recency bias here in my ranking, but I'd say probably 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8. Hard to say. I mean, just seen it the one time, just got done watching it, so there's probably some recency bias in there. I'm sure there's some flaws in it that I'm not considering at the moment or something, but anyway, I think most of the jokes landed. There were a ton of references and cameos, and I'm sure I'm not even going to address, I'm probably going to miss half of them in the spoiler section. So it's definitely you need to see it to take it all in kind of thing. And I'm not an expert on Deadpool from the comics, so, I got some of the jokes referencing the comics, but I'm sure there are others that I missed. So anyway, overall, Jackman's, good as Wolverine. A little bit different interpretation of Wolverine in this one. Ryan Reynolds continues to be good as Deadpool. Then beyond that, while there are other characters that we've seen before, and I'm pretty sure it's not a spoiler to say this, Yukio, Negasonic, and Colossus, and Peter, and Blind Al, let's see, Shatterstar, and a couple other people are like Wade's friend circle, okay? I think they're all in the trailer. Maybe Shatterstar wasn't. But don't worry, any other cameos are going to be in the spoiler section. So, it's important that you have seen probably the other two Deadpool movies, probably Logan and Loki season 1, to really know what the hell's going on in this movie. Some other movies too, but I'm going to put them in the spoiler section because it involves the cameos. So, yeah. So I can tell you, because it's in the trailer, it does involve the TVA from Loki season 1. And yes, it's not just, I know in the trailer we see some guy that we've not seen from Loki, but we do see at least one character from Loki in there. So anyway, the action, top notch. What you come to expect from the others, a lot of the slow motion, very violent with the touch of the funny. God, I don't even want to spoil that either, the big action sequence there. Wolverine and Logan throw down a couple times, and you would think with both of them having healing factors and basically being unstoppable that they would know that the only thing they're really going to do is hurt each other. And yeah, they just literally go for hours at one point. So, yeah. There's, like I mentioned, the jokes are good, the acting's good, the movie's more serious. Tons of cameos that I can't mention until we get to the spoiler section. So overall, if you like the other two movies, definitely go see it. It is the latest entry in the MCU, so if you're following everything there, you need to see it. and it does reference a number of other movies, but most of those are not super important to the plot. Uh, oh, well, actually, an addendum to what I said earlier, probably help if you've seen Doctor Strange also. So, that's about as far as I can go without really getting into spoilers. Yeah. So we're heading into spoilers here. So if you don't want to hear them, now would be the time to turn it off. Before you do, I'd appreciate like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Comment down below if you plan on going to see the movie. And you're probably going to hear that sales pitch again at the end because I'm just used to saying it. So anyway, into the spoilers. There are an ungodly number of cameos, and I didn't expect many of them. Yeah, I'd been avoiding spoilers, but like I didn't realize what I was even avoiding here, I guess. So, let's see. I guess I'll just kind of cover the plot here real quick. So, Deadpool is. There's a moment like several years ago that you see where he goes to Happy Hogan to try to join the Avengers. And it doesn't happen. And, he tells him, hey, we're watching what you're doing, but you're wanting to do this for you, not for them, for the people, and that's part of the problem. Like, it's a selfless job. It's not about shameless self-promotion. So, somewhere after that, he kind of lost his way, and he and Vanessa broke up. So now he's trying to sell cars with Peter at the car lot. If you don't remember, Peter was the guy, just the random guy who showed up for X-Force and who managed to survive, unlike everyone else that got killed. Apparently Shatterstar also survived. So that was in Deadpool 2. And then, so he goes home, it's his birthday, they have a surprise party, all of his friends are there, and then there's a knock on the door, it's the TVA, he goes with them, and guy at the TVA is basically going to tell him, hey, look, your reality is about to die because the focal point of your reality was Logan, and he died in the movie Logan. So he's dead. And the movie opened with him digging up Logan because he's like, well, he's dead. So, but he's like, but I think he's not because he's got a healing factor. And he gets the coffin open, and it's just the adamantium skeleton. He's like, you are quite dead, aren't you? So, yeah. Then he proceeds to fight and kill a bunch of TVA guys with Logan's assorted bones and then his claws. And, So then, that's the opening, kind of like the first movie where it's like, oh, let's go back and explain why we're here kind of thing, like in the first movie. And so then it gets caught up to that point, and he realizes that the TVA guys are kind of going off the beaten path, because his idea is, okay, well, I just need to get another Logan to become like the central figure for my universe. So he goes to try to find other Logans. First, he comes across the comic accurate Logan, which is Hugh Jackman but digitally shrunk down to 5 feet tall, which that was hilarious. Then he comes across him as Patch there in Madripoor, and then Age of Apocalypse Logan in presumably the Age of Apocalypse. And and then the first of the cameos, I think this is the first of the cameos, we see Logan, but he's played by Henry Cavill. And Wade even gives him the whole, like, look, we're going to treat you a lot better than those guys down the street. Like, this was meant to be. And he tells him to piss off. And so then he comes across the one that the rest of the movie follows. And he's the one that doesn't immediately try to kill him. So he's like, oh, this is the right one here. And it turns out this one is, like, very down on himself. He thinks that he let the X-Men down. You eventually find out why. And he's right, he did. And I'll get to that here in a minute. So they go back to the TVA, and the guy at the TVA is like, wow, bravo. Not only did you misunderstand what I said and brought a Logan, but you brought the worst one. And then they zap him with the rods and send him to the end of time, to the void. And there they run into Chris Evans, and he's got like a cloak on and everything. And Cassandra Nova's goons come riding up, which included Pyro and I believe it's the same actor from the later, the later X-Men movies, because Pyro's in the first one, and then they change actors for the second one. And I believe it's the same actor from the second and third movie. At least it looked the same to me. Then Sabretooth, who was played by Tyler Mane. And I don't know if Toad was played by Ray Park or not, and Juggernaut was definitely a different actor. And I think Lady Deathstrike was there too, and didn't get a good enough look at her until I realized who she was. Then I didn't see her again, so I'm not sure if she was the same actress or not. And yeah, so Chris Evans is all like, he's getting ready to do his thing, and Deadpool's like, oh, great, he's going to say the thing. He's like, Avengers, and then he yells, flame on, and it's the Human Torch, Chris Evans, not Captain America. To which Deadpool's like, the hell is this? So yeah, that was great. Then unfortunately he fights Pyro, and well, Pyro just like sucks all the fire out of him. Then he falls and racks himself and knocks himself out, and yeah. So they get captured. They get taken to Cassandra Nova. Oh, the Deadpool Sabretooth fight, or Wolverine Sabretooth fight. It's about 5 seconds. Wolverine just decapitates him. So, yeah, which is pretty much what I expected. So they're like I said, they're in the end of time. That's why the 20th Century Fox logo is in there, and because it's in the trash heap at the end of time. So they're confronted by Cassandra Nova. We see her mind powers at work and her other abilities, and then she's going to feed them to Eliath, who, if you haven't watched Loki season 1, that's the creature that consumes all the crap that winds up there at the Void at the end of time. And they manage to escape, and then that's where they run into a different version of Deadpool, who is just like really handsome, long-haired Ryan Reynolds with Dogpool, and he lets them borrow his car and take off to go track down Cassandra Nova again, because she said that she can get him back home. And somewhere in there, they start fighting it out, and then we get a whole lot of cameos here, though I was not expecting. So they basically beat each other senseless, and someone comes and steals the car they're sitting in, takes them somewhere, and they wake up in this underground grotto kind of deal. And the first person that walks in is Jennifer Garner as Elektra, followed by Wesley Snipes as Blade, and then Channing Tatum as Gambit from the unproduced Gambit movie, with just an absolutely terrible accent, which Deadpool comments on quite a bit. And then X-23, played by the Daphne Keane, the same actress who played her in Logan. Now, obviously, a more adult version, because now she is an adult or an older teenager. I'm not sure how old she is, but she's older. The movie came out like 10 years ago. So yeah, so they decide that they're going to go and make an assault. Oh, turns out Johnny was part of their team, and Cassandra Nova killed him, by the way. So they're going to make a run for it, and they decide that even if they die, they're going to go out swinging, and at least Deadpool and Wolverine will hopefully remember them and carry on their name to wherever it is they wind up. So they go, and their big plan is to use Juggernaut's helmet to cancel out Cassandra Nova's mental powers. And it's some shenanigans, and they ultimately succeed, but then Pyro shoots her, and she needs her powers to not die. So they have to get her to like a position where she'll agree to not just immediately try to kill them. And yeah, so that's where Logan finally has this big moment of, no, Wade, we're not going to kill her. It's like, I let down everyone on my world, and I wear this outfit, this Wolverine suit, to remember them. He's like, Chuck wouldn't want me to kill his sister like this. He's like, and he tells her, like, had he known about you, he would have torn apart the multiverse trying to find you and save you. And he's like, I'm going to live up to the name of the X-Men finally. I'm going to do something. He's like, so I'm not going to kill her, and takes the helmet off so that she can heal. And then she agrees to send them back. And it turns out she has a sling ring from some version of Doctor Strange that came through there that she killed. And so she opens up a portal and sends them through right as Eliath comes roaring through the base. The base, by the way, is the corpse of Giant Man. And, yes, then they go back, and And then they got to fight some TVA guys, or they're going to. But then Cassandra Nova also shows up, and she decides she's going to destroy the multiverse, and so that this is nothing but the void because she likes ruling there. And the TVA guy has built a machine to shred realities, and so she's just going to basically crank that thing to maximum and just start tearing them all down. So Deadpool and Logan have to get inside to stop her. They have to fight through the army of Deadpools, which is where we see Lady Pool and all the other versions of Deadpool. And him and Logan tear through them, then they all start regenerating, and so they've got to come up with an alternate way to get through. And they do. Then they're put in a position where the thing is fed by a matter antimatter reactor, so someone is going to have to, like, underneath the thing, bridge the two to cause them to explode underground to short circuit the reactor. The problem, and there, but Wolverine and Logan are, all right, fine, we'll heal from that. And the guy's like, no, you clearly don't understand what I just said. He's like, you're going to be pumped full of matter and antimatter. Like, you will be destroyed at the atomic level. You will not regenerate from that. And so they go, and Logan is going to sacrifice himself, so he can do something good, so that Wade can go back to his friends. And then Wade's like, no, like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this for them. I didn't, you came here unwillingly, and you fulfilled your end of the bargain, and let me do this. And then Wade isn't, like, long enough to stretch between the two, so Logan grabs the other one, and then they survive. And yeah, that's more or less it. Then you've got the woman from the TVA. I don't remember her name. She was the larger black woman who was an enforcer, and then, like, starts running the show after the end of season 1 into season 2, or is one of the upper people. Her and Owen Wilson's character and Loki. So she's there, and she's got a thing for Peter, apparently. At least him in the Deadpool outfit. So yeah, they stop it, win the day, and Logan ends up in Deadpool's universe, and they find X-23. I don't know if it's the one from the End of Time or if it's the one from the Logan universe, which is the Deadpool universe. And the TVA, the woman, agrees to kind of help those other people get back home. So, like, Blade and Elektra and them. But yeah, so then for the end credits, you've got some scenes from the various movies, the various Fox movies that were made, like a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and not just the X-Men, but also like the Fantastic Four and Daredevil, and some of those. Even the Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie has some clips in there too. So just a montage of those. And then there was something at the very end, and come to here in a second. Oh yeah, there's a scene involving the Human Torch at the end of the credits. So yeah, references something from a lot earlier in the movie. But yeah, so that's the movie. Those are the cameos. There's probably others that I missed. There's a bunch of references and, like, signage in the background and everything. Like there's a Liefeld sign, and the comment underneath it is "Only Feet." There's a Stan Lee's Cleaners on the side of a bus. I think established 1922, which I'm going to assume is Stan Lee's the year he was born. And some other things like that, just scattered all throughout the movie. But yeah, lots of references, but still, it doesn't live on the references. They aid the story. It's not just a bunch of I think South Park referred to them as member berries. But yeah, solid movie. If you like the other two, you like this one. Definitely not for kids, but overall, definitely go check it out. And that's about all I got to say on that. So let me know if you've seen it already, or if you intend on going to see it, down in the comments. Your thoughts on the other movies. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And yeah, until then, just remember, make mine Marvel.